I am really excited to be here with you tonight. It gets very emotional sometimes, as you know, because my heart is always in Cranston, Rhode Island. I've said publicly that, when I walk out of a movie theater in Scotland, which I have, I'm somehow walking out of the Park Cinema. Like my brain is still like walking out of the Park Cinema. So, when I came home in 2002, I had been away for 20 years. And in those 20 years, I had learned a lot of things that I thought were totally normal. Like the way people did business, the way street signs were, that people paved roads, And so you remember me being, I know almost everybody here. Wonderful to see you all. Dave Callan's here. Hey, Dave. And I did things that I thought were normal. And it were like I had to say crossing guards once, right? So crossing guards, making $129 an hour, just wasn't normal, right? And so we fought, and many of you in this room fought with me. A very, very hard fought, good fight, and every single step we took was a hard step. There was nothing easy about suing the school committee personally for $1 million each. There was nothing easy about winning the first Carullo action to get the schools to balance their budget. Nothing easy about winning the crossing guard lawsuit, which gave, and I don't know if anybody's taken advantage of it, but gave the right of the citizens of each city to say that the city charter trumped a union contract. You remember people protesting, teachers sending kids out of schoolrooms. Everything was a fight. The U.S. Senate race, of course, was an unbelievable fight that we lost. And many of you here were helping me on that. It was just a tough thing, to lose that Senate race when we thought we actually could win the whole thing. Along the way, I am the only living elected Republican since Abraham Lincoln to ever be attacked running for higher office by the National Republican Party. I wrote a book, Primary Mistake. And I think if you read Primary Mistake today, you'll see that we were right. The book is right. What has to bring the Republican Party back was right. And so what I want to talk to you about a couple things tonight is that the reason I'm actually here tonight is that Susie Yankee got elected chairwoman of the party. I'm just going to talk like a Rhode Island, because I'm a Rhode Island, as you know, I'm a Rhode Island. I just happen to live like a Russian dissident, like in another country, or a Cuban guy who escapes Cuba wants to go back, So, never since I walked in October of 2001, the first meeting, and you were there, Dave Talon, I met you there. There was a meeting, and it was like an executive meeting, and it was in Warwick. And I went to the meeting wearing a suit and tie. This is now what I would call pretty much dressed up, about as you ever see me. I don't know how to tie a tie anymore. I guess I'll have to learn if I come back here. But remember this meeting where the people were just fighting about something so stupid within the Republican Party leadership in front of everybody who was showing up for the regular meeting. That Mayor Aberdeen, he literally came over to me after he saw a guy in a suit. Probably looked like he had some money. He walked over and I introduced myself, and he's a very friendly, nice man. He said, it's not always like this. It's a true story. But it actually was. Right? It has been where people, and I'm just going to tell you, the things I fought against were actually within our own Republican Party. The toadies always help out. I could go around the room and say, look at her, Karen, always helped out. Always had something to do that helped out. But there was so many people in the leadership that were there because they might get some legal business over here later on, right? And they weren't there for you, they weren't there for Rhode Island, and it screwed everything up. And so when I got a phone call that she had been elected, I said, can you come in and maybe help bring some of the conservative people back? And I said, well, it's been a long time, but I would. I'm actually going to come in on June 2nd to at least eat pizzas at Tommy's Pizza in Cranston and see Cafe Bon Ami and go to Spoonham's restaurant before I head out. That's what I do, right? I stuff myself. I fast before I come. I stuff myself when I leave. But Sue has a message that's going to be a good message that we're going to have to figure out how to move a step forward and another step forward. We're going to have to figure out how to raise some money here, starting with this group, so that there's money spent appropriately. The reason people don't give a lot of money, there's a number of reasons. The open primary system that needs to be closed, in my opinion. I said this forever, right? I said forever. How many times have I said, I say it all the time, because Colorado just opened their primary, right? It's the stupidest thing in the whole world. If you close the Republican primary, there's a reason I don't go golfing at Augusta National Golf Course. I'm not a member. You think they just let me wander in? Hey, I'm here, where's Jack Nicklaus? We're gonna play around. No, I'm not a member. So the heartland of any state, of what goes on out there in Burville, is that they see this happen, that you're not fighting for them, right? If you fight and try to close the primary and lose, or you fight and do something and lose, people say they fought for me, and they'll show up. But I would tell you what, you want to see registered Republicans rise in ranks? When I was the mayor, Republicans in Cranston rose 33%. Every other city and town lost membership. Not one person in the Republican leadership at that time ever asked me how I did it. Not one person cared, not one person wanted to know. They had a different agenda. That should have been like, all right, how'd you do it? We're gonna do it over here. We're gonna get Mike Napolitano. I always say the good Mike Napolitano. We're gonna bring him back in. We're gonna have the training sessions. We're gonna do what he said. We're gonna knock on the doors. We're gonna have the same message as we do. I mean, we've got to be the Democrats sound so terrible, right? I mean, abortion after you're born. I mean, you could go on all day about these people, right? But they have a singular message. They get ready at night, and the same quotes get on every show, the same quotes. Usually it's about impeachment or something so stupid you can't believe someone's talking about it, rather than bringing back their union workers who are so disaffected by what's happened in China. But it's the same stupid message. We need the same stupid message, or it's going to be the same smart message. Whatever we come up in this room, the new people who join, it's going to be the same message. Even if you don't like it that much that day, it's still going to be the same message, because when people hear it, remember, people have to hear things 10 times. They have to see 10 commercials. They have to meet you 10 times, or 3 times meet you, before they're like, oh, that's Laffey, or that's Sue, or they have to see this. So this is, I hope, the beginning, from, the northern part of the state down to the southern part of the state, and I know a lot of people in the southern part of the state aren't here today. A beginning of the same message. And what is that message for Rhode Island? I did it on TV the other day, but I don't have the photos here today, but here is really the message that drives it home when you talk to people in Rhode Island. My house, the house south of me, when I moved there, was a $200,000 house. Today it's a $400,000 house. I left and sold my house 10 years ago for $215,000. Today it's $250,000. It's not $430,000. All that equity in the Colorado house to my south is in people's pockets. The property taxes on that house are $1,500. The property taxes on my old house is $4,500. And let me tell you something. At that level, it's that $3,000. The average family of 4 makes $60,000. After taxes, and some people pay the federal tax, but after taxes and the Social Security tax, they've got let's say 50. That $3,000 is why people around don't paint their homes. It is. It's not you people necessarily, but that's what you see when neighborhoods start to go down. They don't have the $3,000 every spot. They don't take the second vacation to where. That's what we call the Great American Dream. It's not about money, and that's why it's died in Rhode Island. In order to bring it back, we got to get that $3,000 back per person. Some way, somehow, it has to come back. I ultimately didn't stay here long enough to finish the job in a sense. And we won a lot of battles, and there was no farm team because the Rhode Island Republican Party at the time didn't want a farm team. They didn't want Steve Laffey to be successful. There weren't people running on that platform. We were popular as Donald Trump is about China in Wisconsin and in Western Pennsylvania and in Ohio, where they've lost their jobs, where I made my movie, with Scully and I made the movie, right? That's what they have to have that money back. That's the message. We got to get your money back. Some way you phrase it differently. We're going to get the money back. We're the party's going to get your money back. How are we going to do it? Well, we can talk all night about that, but you can just go to what Scully filmed 5 years ago, How to Fix Rhode Island. There's a way to get the money back. And then the second part that's going to happen, it's going to take a long time. They have to believe you're going to do it. Is there anybody here, and I'm not trying to be humble, that if I say, I'm going to do this, here's what's going to happen? Does anybody think it's not going to happen? If I say I'm going to stay up all night with you guys and do X, Y, and Z, I'm going to stay up all night and do X, Y, and Z, whatever it was. That's why you came. And that's what we all have to do. That's the next part. It's totally okay that the party has been busted up, that the people who just hung around and said, "to hell with it, we're leaving," and that new people need to come in, because you might as well start at the actual bottom. It's actually better. And the meetings need to be going forward with Sue Yankee running this joint as our leader. They have to be meetings where we walk out and say, "Yep, that's what we're doing." And because it won't be crazy stuff. She's not here for her own pocketbook. She's not doing it for that reason. She has a track record of doing stuff that we want to do. We want to fight the public sector unions. We're not against, listen, we're not against unions. I said it 5 million times. I came from a private sector union. The public sector unions have destroyed the state. I mean, I'll give you some other example. I don't think you can leave this room and say we're going to fix the public school. We're not. We're going to end the public schools. I live in a state, see, I go away for a while. I went away for 20 years. I come back with things that I think are normal. In my city of Fort Collins, just Fort Collins, there's 50 charter schools. There ain't 50 charter schools. There are 3 charter schools. Let me tell you another thing you can do. When I was Mayor of Cranston, a couple that you might know publicly came to me. They were getting married, but they had children from different marriages. A girl who grew up in the Cranston East section was about to go live in a Cranston West house for her senior year of high school. A tragedy, as we know, especially since I'm from Cranston East. Sorry, Robin. Well, Robin went to Cranston East. She's here. So they came to me, and I had to go get like a special dispensation, like going to the Pope, to get this thing done, that this girl could actually end her career. She drove a car. Why couldn't she end her career at Cranston East? She knew all these kids from like Rhodes Elementary. In Colorado today, you can go to, you like the Algebra 2 teacher over there at that school, and the history teacher over there, and one class is in the morning, one class is in the afternoon. You go to either school during the day. They couldn't care less. Now, if it's overcrowded and you can't get, there's all this, but they don't care. So when you call it, get this. I homeschool my children, I can talk about it. It's a wonderful thing, and I actually did it myself when my daughter came down with cancer. I had to stop and do it, and I really didn't want to do it, but I did do it. But if you go to a school system, when I moved to Colorado, and I went into the school to see, well, maybe my kid should go here, I don't know. I went to some charter schools in Colorado, early college and so forth. It was like I was at McDonald's. Do you think that happens at Cranston East? You're wondering, hey, I think my kid might want to go here. What do you offer? What do you think's going to happen? What do you mean, what do we offer? We offer, we got this union thing, and the kids start school hen, and we teach them about sex ed, and I know you don't like it, and blah, blah, blah. That's what we do. And we don't have any more PTA meetings, and we don't care what you think. That's the meeting that you have in Rhode Island. In Colorado, they're like, oh, because they're competing with 50 charter schools. They only get paid if people stay. So they do, they compete. That's the kind of stuff we got to start here. That's what we got to convince people. By the way, minorities. Everybody was always like afraid that I was getting so popular with minorities. I went to Guatemala, you might remember. I was all Carta, we donated these fire engines and so forth. They want a good education. But we can't have a school system that teaches 20 languages. So there's things that we can agree on these big giant things of what we need to do, and we can start marching, and we're going to get people to follow us. Here in Rhode Island, because it is bankrupt. I mean, I don't sit there and pray that Providence declares bankruptcy so I can come back and get on a white horse and just go up and say, see, that's exactly what I told you. But I am telling you it's going bankrupt. It's absolutely going bankrupt. And I just read another headline where the mayor of Providence is now said, it's almost unbelievable. He's given up fixing the pension plan, and the quote is along the lines of like, at least I raised the awareness about the pension plan. Like, and that's what he says. That's what people say. I was at a meeting a couple of years ago, and Gina Raimondo, the governor of the state of Rhode Island, came to the meeting. I can't even tell you what meeting it is. I'm supposed to keep quiet about it, but I won't. So I went to this large meeting. Now, she walked up and she saw me, and I swear she just was like, this guy's not here. This is like a ghost laughing. So she had her speech was about how Rhode Island was really only competing within New England and maybe upstate New York. We're competing with Buffalo. We're competing with Rochester. So I raised my hand as she's talking about this thing. Because we're not, by the way, that's a bald-faced lie. We are competing with Taiwan. We are competing with everybody in Dallas, Texas, for jobs, for high tech, for people to get out of Brown and stay in the state, right? We're competing with everybody. And so she wouldn't even look over. So I finally said, is that your shtick? I've been out of here for a little bit, but is that what you tell people? Because it's obviously not true. But the real question is, do people believe this? Is this what you tell people, and do they believe it? And then she cut it short and left, and that was the end of the speech, kind of thing. And then the guys were kind of mad at me for actually interrupting her. But still, let me tell you the truth. We have to do that. You can't have people get away. They don't let us get away with it. Right? They're going to come heckle us and yell outside and parade outside. Why do we let... You should interrupt people and say, that's not true. Well, it's not true, it's not true. It's obviously not true that we in Rhode Island don't just compete with, like, Portland, Maine for jobs. Right? Can that possibly be true? So that's the other part of the message. We call people out all the time when they're wrong. We don't let it sit. We put out press releases. That's wrong. Here's the evidence. We're the evidence party. We're not the fake news party. We're the evidence party. We have the evidence, and this place is totally in disarray. And we've got to fix it. It's going to start here. It's going to start now. And you've got to go home. See, the other thing you got to do, and I was good at this. I wish I was going to do this because I like doing it. But you got to go home and tell somebody. There's a new sheriff in town. This lady wears yellow pants. You couldn't care less. But we're going to do something different, and we're not going to have the arguments, the internal fighting. We're going to wipe out the people we're here to take money eventually. And not to get into names of people who ran the party, who now are lawyers, and just do business with the state, I'm sure. I don't even ask the questions. I knew that's why they were doing it. You guys are here because you don't like the way it is. You're rock-bed Republicans, and rock-bed Republicans can win. They did it in Cranston when there was a 9-0 Democratic city council, a Democratic mayor, and a guy who showed up after not being here for 20 years. And if you remember, the campaign about me was that I wasn't here for 20 years. I don't know if you know, you probably didn't know this, but the TV commercial that Aaron Garabedian ran was the greatest thing I ever saw in my life. The TV commercial started with a moving van moving in, deep voice, a Laffey sticker on the bottom, on the back of it, as a guy slaps it on loud. What would you do if you hadn't lived in Cranston for 20 years? Steve Laffey thought he'd run for mayor. And then it goes right to Aaron Garabedian, walking around and doing whatever he's doing. It's like, and I'm campaigning through Cranston, a kid who came from a not such a great upbringing, went to Harvard Business School, helped run a big company. And everybody got cut in my ears like, what's so bad? Hey, what? Oh, first of all, the first thing was, why do your TV commercials play right before his? I said, they're not my TV commercials. He goes, what do you mean? The one when you come home and you're running for mayor. And I'm like, that's his commercial. He goes, what's wrong with that? Why can't you help us out? True story. Happened all the time on the campaign trail. I was like, keep running those commercials. Keep running those commercials. Because inherently, people don't care whether you were here last, tomorrow or 3 years ago. Your constituents, the constituents of Rhode Island, and I know it's a tough message. Listen, it's tough with the newspapers against you. The Go Local Prize people aren't against you. It's tough with a lot of things against you, like the message, right? But they want to know what you're going to do for them. They ultimately want to know what's going to happen to their children. Ultimately, that's how people vote. Now, we could say it can't be possibly true anymore because some people are voting so crazy in California, it can't be about their children. But truthfully, that's how our people vote, and that's how a lot of people in the middle vote about the future. Who can grab the future? So it's time for the Round Republican Party to grab the future. That's what we should be doing here. You think this is there's not 600 people here yet. There were 500 people when I gave my last speech before I left, right? At that place that we did. Doesn't matter. When I first came home, there were like 3 people in a shoebox. There was like 3 guys I grew up with, right? It was Eddie Curran, it was, then Joe shows up from church, and George has a truck. I don't even know the guy, he just walks around with the truck, he puts some things in the truck, on corners of street corners over the weekend because he wasn't driving the truck. So people showed up. And why? They believed I was going to do what I said I was going to do. I don't know if any of them thought I could win. But they met me, I looked them in the eye. This is my town, this is where I grew up, I'm a financial expert, this place is broke, I'm gonna fix it. You want in? I want in. That's Rhode Island. Rhode Island over the next couple of years is going totally bankrupt. The nation, by the way, may be in serious trouble too. But these unfunded liabilities from state and city have never been fixed. The debt here is so high that at some point, no one's going to buy these things. The job that people have done in just about every city who's been a mayor, but now it's Warwick's going to go broke. Providence should just go broke. I said it years ago. They all would have been better off if they just heeded my advice. I wrote an op-ed about it. They should have went broke. They're going to go broke. I hate to say it's going to be your opportunity, but it's going to be your opportunity. They're going to go bankrupt. It's not Central Falls. It's Providence, Rhode Island. They will never pay back this debt. The unions will never okay a cut. There's going to be a bankruptcy in that city, and we're going to be there to take advantage of it. It's going to absolutely happen. It should happen. So these are the kind of things that out of the depths of despair, people will finally listen to somebody. And you remember, if you were with me in that first campaign, and you walked with me, what did I say in the debates? You can watch the tapes. What did I really say? I said, nobody's going to like anything I'm going to do. But I didn't come home after 20 years to live in Detroit. I will fix it. You won't like it. And when I'm done, you'll say thank you. Vote for me, Steve Laffey. I won. That message, people were scared. People are going to be scared again. So we've got to rise up. The first thing, of course, is to figure out how the next cycle we take back X seats. And we need to make sure we understand by taking, that's the message. We're going to take back, I don't know, you can decide on 10 or 12, whatever it is. The ones that we can take back, we're going to take back. We're going to train the right people. They're going to bring a little money. They're going to be committed to raising 10, 20, whatever it is today, $10,000, $20,000. People are going to give them the money. They're going to knock on the doors. They're going to have the same message. And in areas that we can win, we will win. There are many seats that we don't hold that we can hold. They're at the state rep level, the state senate level, and they're at the city level. Remember, it's just as important in many ways for someone in the north in Burrillville, the south in Hopkinton, to grab an extra seat, to control something. You know, we all work together to do this. It can't be done. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but it's going to happen over the next couple of years. And the people are literally going to be, the mayor of Cranston when I came home was literally at one point the emperor with no clothes. Remember, he didn't run. Everything can turn like that when you have the evidence, a message, and there's a catastrophe. And Rhode Island is, it is so sad. When I see people who are not from Rhode Island, they know about Rhode Island, they say things that I don't want to tell you people. I love you people. They say things that just like, yeah, that place is full of, corrupt people. They don't. I was riding through there, the roads, people say things, they know I'm from Rhode Island. And it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be that your property values are so much less than Boston. They should be more. It's like what we have in Rhode Island, like it's like a pinprick could really explode this thing. And by the way, it happened the other way around. 1933, most people were Republicans, right? And then right after that, they elected T.F. Green. He served for a long time. Pell replaced him for 30 years. And now it's a lifetime seat for Jack Reed. It doesn't have to be this way, where people are totally reelected. It doesn't have to be where David Cicilline destroys a city and gets elected to be congressman. So listen, we can talk about a lot of things, but that's why I'm here. That's why I hope you're here. And this message has to go back to the hinterlands of Rhode Island, to the city councils, that because there is a new sheriff in town, we gotta get behind her, and we gotta move this thing forward. And it's gonna be, and here's the other thing that happens in all the politics. Everybody talks about this. You ever notice everything's easy? It's going to be easy to fix health care. It's going to be easy to do this. No one suffers under any, and that's our own party by the national level. No one really suffers when we do things. The truth is, they do. As we make this turn in Rhode Island from the very bottom, you have to tell people the truth. They want to hear the truth. As I said, you're not going to like anything I'm going to do. I raised taxes. Yeah, I cut spending. It was to save the city from bankruptcy so that actually people could still get mortgages. In 3 months, our borrowing cost for short-term money went from a tax equivalent rate of 15%. And if you remember, I used to walk around the campaign trail and say, it's sort of like Vinny with the baseball bat shows up. You lost 3 football games in a row, you haven't paid up, and then Vinny shows up. Sorry to say Vinny in front of you. But that's what it was like. So that's how you get people to understand. But our borrowing cost went to 2% in 3 months. Effectively, Cranston was saved in the first couple of months. Everything else was a follow-through. We can do that here. And then grab the gusto, where we can't argue, and that's why I'm so excited. I know it sounds like crazy. Why would Laffey be excited? Well, every time I tried to do something, not to get on the Governor Kacheri thing, never helped out. I said on the TV the other day, like, I was always like the second guy to go give a speech, like, oh, call the governor, and he always would not come at the end, right? Oh, we'll get Laffey. And every night I go somewhere. I go somewhere to talk to for Dave Cote or whoever, right? I mean, and many of those speeches was like the day before, Diane Marola. Would be like, oh, the governor decided he wasn't coming. Like, why was he not coming? Why didn't he let me just grow the farm team, right? I don't want to get into it. It just was stupid. You know, we have to have a farm team. We have to have young people. And here's the other thing. From now on, at every meeting, bring the children. Bring the young people. You know, Democratic meetings, there's children running around getting indoctrinated into really stupid things. When you say,
That was beautiful.
I have 6 children. The reason that all 6 children of mine are actually arch-conservative Christians first, arch-conservative, pro-life, my 11-year-old. When I go give a speech I just gave one to the Jewish Republicans of Colorado. My kids are with me doing the space time thing. They hear me say this. Your kids need to hear this. If you don't have kids, your nieces need to hear it. You know, younger people, you have to drag them along. You gotta bring children, young people, teenagers to hear this stuff so they walk away going, oh, so markets do matter. You know, I mean, there's this thought process that markets don't matter. They have to know that this new monetary theory is not a theory at all. It's not a monetary. It's stupid, right? They have to know that in 10 years, the world's not gonna end. We're still gonna eat some beef, right? They have to know that if you want to talk about pollution, it's the oceans, and it's really Starbucks that's doing it, right? Don't let them skate. And then we have to act, you know, for example, just take a national policy. I've been talking about China for how long, Doc? I've been talking about China forever.
10 years. More.
When the Club for Growth endorsed me, I agreed to every single thing, even on free trade, and you can go read the document, they probably still have it, because I know I do. And I wrote, except China. And I'm not with free trade for China. What I'm wearing here, this is made in America. Peggy Freeman, this is Todd Shelton out of New York. These pants are the All-American Clothing Company. These shoes are from the San Antonio Shoe Company, made in San Antonio, Texas. That's another thing. We need to go out and buy stuff made in America. The president is failing us on that. He's not asking us to do stuff. We need him to do what the president did on physical fitness, John F. Kennedy. You're gonna work out, you're gonna get this award, you're gonna get the 85% thing. You need to leave here understanding, what do I do about it? Well, if you wear American clothes, or at least not Chinese clothes, everything I buy. I start with America. Try this tomorrow. You walk into a department store. Walk into a department store and ask them, where's the Made in America section? Watch their face. I do it every single time. My kids know I do it. Everybody knows I'm going to do it. I got videos of me doing it. Because the look on people's faces is just like this. Because they know there should be one in Walmart. Right? In a furniture store. Goodley's Furniture Store up in Fort Collins. They know there should be a Made in America section at least. They just don't know where it is. They don't actually say there's not one. They stop. They think. But if we all did it, right? And then if we couldn't get it in America, we went to Canada. If we couldn't get to Canada, we go to England. We can't go to England and we end up somehow in Vietnam. It's still not with a country that's about to try to destroy our country and send our children, our grandchildren to war. Because that's exactly what's about to happen in the next 10 years. I've been saying for 10 years, no one's been listening. President Trump is finally talking about it. He's going too slow for me. I wouldn't trade with him at all. I would have upset the whole thing. Because it's not easy for everybody to understand that that country wants to be the next world superpower, and they're going to run it like Rome did. And the way Rome did it is, you screwed up, your city screwed up, we show up, we kill all of you, we drop salt, and we let a message go that nothing even grows there anymore. That's what they're going to do with the hypersonic glide missiles and so forth. So on the national level, this is not really a Rhode Island conversation, We've got to be doing these things too. The president's trying to fight China, buy stuff in America. If 10% of Americans actually did this, which would be only like 1/5 of the Republicans, the whole thing who would be talking about it? There'd be factories in America. Now I know, listen, you can't get a phone made in America. You can't get a TV made in America. There's certain things just, my underwear is not made in America. I don't know where you go. My socks are Allen Edmonds socks, right? And you wait for these gigantic sales. I don't buy full price. I got a Hickey Freeman suit that I'm not wearing today. I haven't hardly worn, but I got it for $300. Now, as one person told me in my last speech at camp, he said, so you're saying, let me get this straight, Mr. Laffey. You're saying that you paid the American price for American goods. I was like, that's genius. I've never used that line, so I use it tonight. That's genius. I do. I pay American prices for American goods. When I buy replacement tires for my car, you know what I do? Does everybody know that on the side of a car, there's a letter? The letter B means made in Birmingham, Alabama. I don't care if it's Michelin or Kiki Koo or whatever it is. Right? Koo, whatever it is. I don't care what it is. If there's a B on the side, I know it's made in Birmingham, Alabama, and that's the tire I want. So when I go get replacement tires, I say I want the tire made in America. And people look at me, and I look back, and I say, and I get them a printout, here's the letters made in America. What's my choice? And they find a tire. It's very easy. But I'm not going to, tires are made in America. Cars are made in America. You know? And so that's just, I'm going to leave you with that last verse. We'll take any questions you want. But see, that's how I'm helping Donald Trump. Everybody should be helping him on this issue. Whether you're in Ohio, there's some issues you can't, you philosophically disagree. But there isn't anybody in this room who disagrees that we should try to buy stuff in America. So darn it, let's do it. Like tomorrow, start doing it. Like, at least ask. And then again, start with a country that's sort of friendly. And Canadians are like Americans. They just don't know it. They just, They live near the border. There's a couple of million of them. I love them, don't get me wrong, but they're equal GDP. It's not really an issue. That's what we got to do. So that's what you got to do for Sue Sienkian. Right? What's she doing? How do I help her? I'm going to put another $50 in. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I want to thank, by the way, Dr. Scully. He's the one who wrote the check to come over here. And I wrote one too. I wrote a $500 check to the Republican Party because I want to show you. So if I believe in something, I'm not going to come here and say, you give and I haven't given. I'll give you an example. And I'll tell you one story about how, even from afar, I think I've helped. But